everybody, it's Stephen and Walter here for another episode of So Chatty, and this will be the last episode of So Chatty for all time. Never again. No, I'm lying. No, we will be gone for about 3 weeks. So the last So Chatty will probably be the last Friday in the month of May. Because as you know, if you've been following the channel, how could you miss it? We're going to Japan, and we leave for Japan this coming Sunday. So yeah, so no Stephen and Walter live this coming week either. So there will be a new set of videos coming your way, however, while we're on our trip, showing you what we're seeing in Japan. And are you excited about going to Japan?
Yes and no.
I'm not. I have a lot of anxiety right now.
Well, actually, every time we go away somewhere, just before we go, I get a little anxious, and because I got to make sure I have everything I want to take with me and stuff like that. And then there's the uncertainty about going to a different country, and
Yep.
I think it'll be fine.
It'll be fine once we're there. We have not heard one bad thing about Japan from anybody that's been there. In fact, we were at Ultimate Sewing just an hour or so ago. More about that in a moment. But there was a lady in there, overheard us talking about that we're going off to Japan, and she says, oh, she'd been there too. She had a great time. She loved it.
In fact, she goes all the time.
She goes all the time, says it's wonderful with it. She says, don't worry about language. They all speak English without any problem. And yeah,
she said that she goes a lot because her husband has to go there a lot for business.
Yeah. So anyways, I have yet to hear someone say,
doing something
I don't know. Well, it's a weird shirt. Maybe it's just your body.
Okay. Oh, new shirt.
Oh, you have a Flying Nun collar.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, this is Walter's new shirt. Well, while we're at it, let's talk about Walter's new shirt. Just in time for our trip to Japan. You saw the new one he made for me, the steampunk one, last week on it. So
I didn't button it wrong, did I?
I don't know.
I don't think so. No, that's right. No, I think shirt's just, the collar's just a little weird. I should iron the collar.
Yeah, that might help if you iron it. But anyways, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the collar. No. It's just it needs to be pressed down there. Anyways, yeah, so Walter's new shirt, as you can see, looks like a 80s video game.
It looks Japanese.
It looks... Oh, are you turning Japanese? Yeah. I really think so. Anyways, yeah, so that's his new shirt. That's what he's been working on. And how about that free motion quilting? What did you do this week?
Well, I didn't do much this week because I got busy doing Japan stuff. So
yeah, been watching a lot of videos about Japan, which might be increasing my anxiety level. Actually, it isn't. Well, it is Japan because things are different than here. Well, that's why you go traveling, isn't it? To experience something different. But unlike our last few trips, they've been usually more predictable about, you know, the etiquette, food, stuff like that, because they were European countries.
Well, both places we went last time, I've been before anyway.
Yeah, I've been to both.
Yeah, and so I think that is less anxiety when you've already been to a place. So
also, I mean, we're going right into a huge city of how many people in Tokyo?
I can't remember. It's the largest city in the world, so I can't remember if it's 23 million or 32 million. So anyway, it's a lot of million.
A lot of people. But everybody, as I already said, say they have a good time. Been watching a lot of videos about it. I guess what I'm afraid of is I'll screw up on the etiquette. You know, when to bow, when not to bow. And
places to eat, stuff like that.
Yeah, like things are just that much different from what we're used to. And so I'm sure we'll acclimatize very quickly. It's kind of exciting. Actually, the thing that gives me the biggest anxiety is the damn airport. And I mean the one here on our side of the world. I imagine Japan's airport is probably a lot nicer and much better organized, because they seem to be better organized at everything from what I've seen on videos than here. And Toronto airport just sucks. And Air Canada just sucks. And, you know, I mean, you're stressed out before you even start your trip. You know, flying Air Canada and out of Toronto Pearson Airport. But anyways, everything will settle in. Once we're there, we'll be very tired because it's a 13-hour flight, nonstop, hopefully. Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, I picked the flight because it's nonstop. I don't like stopping flights.
No, I don't. That just delays the journey, and and heaven only knows what may happen to your luggage in the meantime with that. But I did see a video today where if you've forgotten anything or you need something, one of the best places to go when you're in in Japan for this is a 7-Eleven. There's 7-Elevens that are totally different
Yeah,
than
and
7-Elevens
actually the
here.
hotel we're staying in has a 7-Eleven in.
Yeah, so very convenient. You can get anything in a 7-Eleven, including like half decent food too, not just those like hot dogs that rotate for a year.
No, yeah, they actually are pretty much little grocery stores.
Yeah. And restauranty like kind
Yeah,
of thing
and you
too.
can actually eat in. Although I did see a video the other day that you have to let them know at the cash register that you're going to eat there
Oh yeah.
because they charge you more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we've been to places in Europe that do that too.
Yeah.
Two prices, takeaway and in kind of a deal. But anyways, it will be an experience. And yes, we're going to look at fabric and all the other things that are there too. And we're going to see whatever we can see and do. And Walter has a complete itinerary for us. So that's all there as well. So anyways, Walter's got his shirt ready. Hasn't done anything on free motion quilting in the past week. Is busy making the last minute details that we need for this trip. And I have been working on a few things, mostly to keep my mind off the trip, to alleviate my anxiety. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with my age because...
Well, technically I don't have an itinerary, but we do have a few places we'd like to visit.
Yeah, well,
and so it depends on
sound like an itinerary to me.
how it fits into our days.
Oh, okay. Well, it's maybe not broken down by exact minute, an hour, but whatever. We have a plan. Okay. And when I say we, I mean Walter has a plan. I just go along for the ride. Okay. So what have I been doing? Well, you've already seen this. And I've talked about it earlier this week on the Idiot Quilter, but it's up here again because I asked at that time what you thought I could do to change this. It's odd looking. It's odd looking because of it's on point. It was made from the scraps of the shirts that Walter has made for me. I put it on point, and well, first of all, someone pointed out to me maybe one of the reasons why it looked a little weird was, of course, the placement of the black and white triangles. And I think their suggestion was they said, well, maybe you could rearrange those. Well, I'm not taking any of this apart, so thank you for the suggestions. Or maybe I should have done all the inset triangles as black. Yeah. That would have made it less weird looking, I think. But everything is symmetrical. If you look at this, it is symmetrical. Somebody else said that any on-point quilts they've ever seen, it's done in odd numbers of rows. And mine are all even. And this came out actually square, 60 by 60. And that's a good point, too. Because especially when I was alternating the black and the white inset triangles, well, yeah, that would have maybe worked better if it had been odd numbers. I don't know. But I kind of like it. But it is different. And
well, one thing weird is that I just noticed that you've got on two opposite corners you have a solid triangle.
Yeah, I have a solid because they're bigger.
And then on the opposite
they have a two-tone. Because that's what you see. If it hadn't been done as an even number across, if it had been an odd number, I wouldn't have had to do that because they would have come out like every other one should have been like black, white, black, white, black, white all the way around. But because I had even numbers, that didn't work. I didn't think of that at the time. With it. I didn't think a lot about this quilt, okay? I'll be honest about it. I didn't have a plan. This was all improv. I had a whole bunch of this fabric scraps. I cut them all as 4.5-inch triangles on the Accuquilt or squares, and then I made them all into a whole bunch of half square triangles, and then I just started putting it all together. and thrown it up on the design board. And my design board, it's difficult to see the whole thing when you're standing close to it, because I have my cutting table is sort of in front of that, and it cuts it off a little bit at the bottom. In this picture, I kind of leaned over to get the whole thing in the picture. Now, another thing that will change the way this looks is if I was to put a border on it. But I don't think I'm going to put a border on it. I think I'm going to just bind it. And when I bind it, the binding itself will serve as a very skinny little border all the way around it. And so those parts of white that go off into infinity, also my design board underneath it, design wall, is white too. So it kind of, depending on slightly different shade, but that I think also makes that stand out a little bit weird. But it is weird. There's no two ways about it. It's not what you're expecting. So I think I have decided, and many of you have given me suggestions for what to call it. And thank you for being kind about those suggestions. I think I'm going to call it Something's Not Quite Right. Because you got to admit, it's interesting to look at because you don't know what you're looking at. We want to see symmetry, that we, natural as human beings, we gravitate towards things that are symmetrical. And this is symmetrical, but not in the usual way. So, your mind is playing tricks on you. When you look at it, you go, well, wait, there's something not quite right. What is it? And you start to try and work it out. And, well, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Something a little different. What the heck? So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that quilt. When I get back home, I will look at it with fresh eyes, for one thing, and I don't think I'll make any changes to it. But then we have to get it on Lucy and get it quilted at some point in time. Okay, so I decided to do something else, a palette cleanser. This was on sale on Urban Threads. It's just 3 panels, but it's all embroidered. There's no other fabric on it, just the background fabric. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. It's supposed to be a wall hanging of sorts. That's what they say. I'm playing with the idea of building a quilt around it. But I don't know if I want to do that, because those pieces are pretty stiff. So they'd be in the center of your quilt, and that would make the center of your quilt kind of stiff. Or adding a few more like patchwork rows around it, and just to extend it to something a little bit bigger. Or I can just slap a border on it. I'm thinking of possibly doing a very thin border in black first, and then using the same fabric that I used in the background as a little wider border, and I may just leave it at that, but we'll see. And I started another project because it was on sale as well, and so I need to go up here and change something around for a second so you can see this. I haven't gotten that far on this, but I like the way this looked. Let's see if I can get that to blow up. No, I guess it won't go any bigger than that. Okay, well, here we go. It's called the Lunar Blooms Table Runner. It was on sale. You can see the sale price there. That's an American price. And I thought it was kind of interesting. And it's on black. And Urban Threads likes to do a lot of things that are done on black backgrounds so that the threads look more neon-y.
It looks like it would fit well with your book bag.
Well, yeah, because it comes from that set with it too. But I've already done something. Okay, they use Accuquilt threads, and they give you the numbers and everything for that. And there's quite a few different colors in this. So what I do is my machine will come up and tell me what threads it wants to use in the Janome color line. So I have a conversion program on my phone that I plug in the Janome number, and it'll tell me what the Floriani equivalent is, because that's the actual thread that I use. But they're not exact matches. So you kind of play around with the different shades. And I realized something after I finished, well, I've almost got a second piece done, that this part, I'm working on these end pieces right now. So you see where this star and this sort of line with a star and it goes up to this moon. Well, this is one panel before you get to the moon. Theirs comes up and calls for green.
Yeah, actually, I had one of those patterns a little while ago. I should show you of a grizzly bear, right?
Yeah.
But all the picture they show you is all in brown, right?
Yeah.
Shades of brown. But then the actual color set that came up for Janome colors and that are all different shades of green.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's really
so
weird.
I did actually look up. I think I looked up the actual colors. I printed off a copy of. You can print off a copy of. You can open it up in certain browsers or whatever, and then it'll print off a copy of better color set.
Well, do you mean this? The color change sheet?
Yeah, like there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that
you
comes
can
with
match it with this.
That's what I've been using.
Oh, okay.
And here, show the people. Yeah, you can print that off, and that's what I'm using as my guide. Now, they're using Isocore, and the numbers they have for it and their colors are all to do with Isocore.
But isn't in your Janome app an Isocore?
Doesn't have Isocore. No, of course not. And the Janome also has built into it charts for different threads, but they don't have Isocore. So I'm thinking that this part I was just pointing out up here, I've got that in green. I don't want it in green because I think green looks stupid, but I didn't think about it. See, there's one up there on the wall.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I think it should be in gray and silver.
Yeah, I think so.
With it, because that's what they show. So I'm going to redo one of those now that I know. And I may actually change some of the colors I've already used because I'm not that thrilled with the color combination.
See here, they've got like super white.
Yeah, I know.
Overcast, sterling silver, and chrome.
Yeah. And I also have found their color charts from this company, which is Urban Threads. They're very confusing. See, they don't tell you. They say there's 36 color changes in this, but not for one panel. It's for the entire table runner. But the thing is, on your machine, what it does is you load them up, each panel up individually, so you get a new set of numbers. It doesn't continue them. So for example, I think the first panel went up to about, 16. Okay, so that means the next panel you put in is going to start at 17, maybe. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So it gets all out of whack. So I make notes and write them all down. That's one thing I find about it. Now they do have, on the last page of this, unique colors. So they're saying in this whole table runner, there are 17 different colors. And so you can use that as your color chart too. But then you got to figure out where you're supposed to put them. And on the screen on your embroidery machine, you don't get an accurate representation. Not only that, but their diagram here, it's very difficult from that to tell because there's about 3 different shades of greens in it. Well, yeah, figure out where they are. You kind of see where the darker is. So you got to do some playing around with it. And I'm going to play around with it. I'm in no rush to get it finished. Well, I won't get it finished before we go to Japan because no bloody way, because it takes about an hour and a half. 136 minutes to do one of these little panels on there. So that's like over 2 hours and something. But anyways, you live, you learn, you figure these out. And this is sometimes the challenge you have when you're doing these kind of projects. So anyways, do I need another table runner? No. I do like doing table runners though. I do, but these, because they're, projects that are manageable and you get to experiment a little bit with the colors and whatnot from that. But anyways, that's what's keeping me from worrying about our trip to Japan as I work on that. Okay. So, yeah. We popped in to Ultimate Sewing this afternoon because I had a order there that had come in for me to pick up. Now, I don't know if you remember, but GE Designs last fall came out with a new product. It was it's a wool pressing mat, but the wool pressing mat is situated into a silicone tray. And the whole idea is when you're pressing on the wool mat, on a standard wool mat, you got to have something underneath it, or the heat will go right through the wool mat and go to whatever surface you're ironing on. Now, I have my big wool mat on a 3/4 inch piece of plywood that's covered in batting, and then a piece of cotton fabric on top of it, and that keeps it from going right through to, you know, my table that's underneath it. So I thought this is a good idea. Well, she went into production. She wanted them out before Christmas. That's Gudrun of GE Design. And there was a problem. She shipped some of them out to customers that had ordered them, pre-ordered them. And I'm not sure what the problem was, but something was coming apart or not right, or the wool I think they used in the mat. There was something wrong with that. So she recalled them all, and she went to her manufacturer was, and I guess they sat down and they got it right this time. So I've had this on order since before Christmas last year, and it just came in this week. So I brought it home. I have not used it yet. I've set it up, but here's what it looks like. Now you're going to say, whoa, that color looks weird. That's not what you thought. Yeah, because most pressing mats in wool are a type of gray color. This says it's 100% wool. Why it's this color, I do not know. It feels like wool. It's supposed to be wool.
From Ugly Sheep.
I guess these were the Ugly Sheep. It's quite big. It's bigger than what I was thinking it was going to be. And I have it on, you can see in this picture, I have it on my little side table, and it's bigger than my side table, or wider than my side table. Not that I think it's going to cause me any grief. But it won't slide around because it's got this silicone base, and there's the silicone base. And you'll notice that there's some little pegs in the corners, and there's holes, see here, in the mat, and that's what keeps everything nice and secure. So when you're working with this, it doesn't slide around. I've had to put one of those shelf liner, those rubberized shelf liners underneath the wool mat I had on this little table, because otherwise it just slides all over the place. And even still, it moves. This doesn't move. That silicone sticks straight down. So anyways, it sounded like a great idea, and I've ordered it. It's not particularly cheap. It was about $150 Canadian for this one. I don't know if it comes in smaller sizes. It might. I didn't look into it. But anyways, I'll let you know how it all works out when I get to actually using it. I think it'll be fine. The other advantage too of this is I can move this over to my main cutting table if for some reason I need bigger space than that, and to press on it. Although I did read in the instructions for this, it said not to actually put it on your cutting mat. Because heat can still, I guess the silicone can still heat up, and it could warp your cutting mat. And it doesn't take that much to warp a cutting mat. Ask me how I know about that. But anyways, that's my latest toy, just hot off the press. Only got it open an hour ago or less before we went to this today. So tell you how it all works out. Okay, announcements. No sewing with Stephen on Wednesday this week, nor next week or the week after that. 3 Wednesdays in a row, there will be none of that because we'll be in Japan. We'll come back and start again on I'm not sure.
You're technically back on the 3rd week, but you're not going to commit to doing it because we'll probably have jet lag.
We come back the day before. We come
back the day
Tuesday.
before on the Tuesday, but it's like later at night. We've already flown like 13 hours. So
yeah,
I don't think you'll be in shape.
Should not operate a sewing machine when you're jet lagged on that. So yeah, so stay tuned. Now, next pop-up sew day is going to be on June the 6th. So it's the weekend after we come home. But there'll be announcements about that as well. This past week's videos, Monday morning coffee. I talked about various things, talked about Japan, talked about my 3D print projects and some other things there. Idiot Quilter this week, I talked about the Alaskan quilt and I said, nope, I have given up on it. I cannot get the points. However, I may not have given up on it because when we were in Ultimate Sewing today, one of the ladies there, she teaches a class in doing the Alaskan quilt. Now, somebody told me that she used a different ruler from the one I've been using with the Alaskan quilt, which is the ruler that was meant to go with the Alaska quilt. And she said, no, she used the same ruler. I know some people have used the Deb Tucker ruler, whichever one, I'm not sure, but she said, no, she used that. And I told her what my problem was. She says, bring it in. She says, when you get back from Japan, she says, and I'll sit down and I'll show you how to get everything to work. She loves it. She's making another one. So she knows the secret on lining up the pieces. But she did tell me one thing. She says, don't cut off your points. And what she meant by that was not, I'm cutting off my points when I sew the pieces together. But when you cut it with the Alaskan quilt ruler, it tells you to cut off the point, like the way you cut out the pieces, there's a point, a dog ear, basically, and it says to cut that off. And that's what I've been doing. She says, don't do that. And she says, you might have better luck. And I'm still not sure how that will work, but I'll experiment at some point in time and see how that goes. But I'll go in and have Donna show me. And if she shows me and I'm happy with that and whatnot, I will sort of scrap. I mean, I won't have enough fabric to start over from that kit. I'll pick different fabric and do one from some other line of fabric or whatever with it. Maybe, if she shows me something that works for all of this. Otherwise, it's sitting there. I might take some of the blocks and make it into table runner or incorporate it into an orphan block quilter or something. I don't know. We'll see. Very disappointed in it. And she concurred with me that the instructions suck and the videos also suck that were put together by the designer. So it's not just me. Okay, and on So Chatty, well, last week we looked at using the Accuquilt Qube corners add-on set. This week we're going to be looking at using the angle add-on. And so that's what we're going to put. Get your coffee ready. This video runs 17.5 minutes showing you this one. So we'll see you in 17.5 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the 8-inch companion set, the angles, and we're going to see what it contains. Well, this little box we're very familiar with because it has the pattern box in it, as well as the cutting mat. So we won't bother with that right now. Let's take out this box and see what's in it. So what do we have? Open it up. And you'll see these are all in their saran wrap still because I have never used this set. And I've had it for quite a while. So they're all numbered 13, 14, 15, and 16. And this one cuts a 4-inch finished square, it says, but it's not a square. Why do they say square? Oh, it's triangles in a square. Okay. This one cuts 4-inch finished squares that are triangles in a square. Side pieces. This is center pieces. This is side pieces. This is 4-inch finished square, and it cuts the kite center. And this one is now this has a lot of measurements, and I'm probably out of the screen, and it says it cuts the trapezoid 45 degrees, and it gives you the measurements there for that. So those are all my blocks in this set. So I did pull out the book, and I'm going to do this pattern, which looks fairly complicated. This one. And this is called the hover block pattern. Now, it only uses 2 of the dies, and according to this, I need die 15 and die 3 and 14. So I need 15, 14, and I need 4. Now, the 4 is not in this set. this is the 4 that comes from the main mix and match 8-inch set. So I have to go to it and pull that out to do this. So let's put this back in its little box, keep everything nice and neat and organized. We've got these, and I'm going to go off and I'm going to pull block number 4 that I need for this. And I'll get the machine out as well, take the saran wrap off of these, and I'll show you my colors I'm going to use and the cutting process. Okay, so I've got some pieces all assembled here. I went to my main 8-inch cube and I picked out block number 4. And this is the one that's a quarter square triangle that we need. Okay, so put that to the side with the other ones. My pattern book is here. And these are my fabrics. And I've labeled these according to the die that I'm going to be using to cut them. So I have this, and then this, and this, and this. Now, don't judge me on my colors. These are all basically scraps that are in my set, my stash. So they may not be the colors I would generally use for a quilt, but they'll serve our purposes for demonstrating the cutting of the block. So for the first block, I need, or the first unit, I need number 15. Number 15 is, let me find it here, and the numbers are on the edge of these. And this is number 15, and this is the kite center. So this shape. And according to the book, I only need 1 in this color. So we'll just lay it out here. Now I did use acorn pressing solution and ironed these before I got them out. So I only need 1. So there we go. I'm just going to set that aside. And the next thing is I need 2 of this color cut from block 4. And those are the quarter square triangles, 4-inch. And I need 2 of them. So I'm just going to put my fabric on here and I'm going to fan fold it. Make sure it covers. Just going to fold it over like that, right sides together. It doesn't matter in terms of the direction because I'm not using directional fabric, and the direction of these doesn't change either. So I can cut my 2 blocks all at once. And guess what I forgot to do? And this is easy enough to forget. I forgot to put on my cutting mat. You probably noticed it was slipping. Yeah. Okay, do this again. It happens. You get really carried away and you forget to put your cutting mat on, and it's not going to cut without the cutting mat. Give that a rub. Hold these down. Pull away the excess fabric, and here we go. So I'll just get these all stacked up. Said I needed to cut this twice, this particular die, and I have done that. Okay, let's just put those to the side. And I'm going to take the little label that I made. I'm just going to put those 2 together just to keep everything organized. Okay, so next thing, I'm using this pinky reddy kind of color. And I need to cut 1 of the kite pieces. Now, I could have just stacked up all my fabrics because I can cut 6 layers of fabric for each one of these dies and done it that way. But for the illustration of this, I'm doing these to keep myself straight too. I'm doing them one at a time. So there's that piece. And again, it says I need 2 of the quarter square triangle die of this fabric. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did last time. I'm just going to fold it over. So I have 2 layers of fabric, making sure I need a little bit more. Making sure that I'm cutting the fabric. If you want to be more particular about this, you could cut squares of fabric to cover the block. Not fool around doing this, but I'm lazy. Oh, I did it again. See that? Did you catch it? Forgot my cutting mat. There we go. Okay. Give it a rub. And it looks like I didn't cut all the way through one of these. Yeah, this one. And that may give me a little bit of a problem because for some reason I missed the edge. I was rushing. You shouldn't rush the process, even though it is faster. So I'm not going to fool around with that. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a bunch more. This is scrap fabric. I'm not worried about it, about wasting. I know some of you out there are going, oh, but it's so pretty. You shouldn't waste it. Use every scrap. Well, my fabric. I'll do what I want to do. Okay. So now I have more than enough of these quarter square triangles. Just put them with the other ones, and I'm going to take this piece, the kite piece, and put my label on those, and that's that. Now the next thing is this color, and I need the 14 and the 4. So the 14 is this one, which is the triangle in a square. So you can see he says a triangle in a square. I would say it's a triangle in a rectangle, but whatever. So I need 1 of these. Let's not forget the cutting mat. So I have those cut. And then I need the number 4 quarter square triangle, and I need 2 of this. Again, just going to fold my fabric over. And it'll go in better this way. Plate on, in the machine we go. And there's all these that I need. So let's stack those up. Let's take this one that I cut, and we'll put the label on that to keep everything organized. Now the last one, I need to cut. I need my 14 again, and I need to cut 1. And the last thing I need to cut is the quarter square triangles again. This one in this color, and I need to cut it twice. So I'm doing the same thing. And there we go. Stack these up. And that's all my cutting. That's all I need. So now I can start assembling the block piece by piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off, clean up all of this, make some room, and start the layout process. So I've laid out the first two pieces that I need to sew together. And this is where I'm using the kite pieces and the half square rectangles. And I did make a mistake. Remember how I thought I was being very smart and I was folding my fabric over? Well, I need it to have one of these has to go the opposite way of this. So you see this one, I need to have the mirror image. And what I ended up with were two that look the same and they're not going to fit. So I recut those quickly off camera. And so now I have what I need. So I'm going to sew this to this, this to this, this to this, this to this. And as you can see, I have blunt ends. So it makes it very easy to line the pieces up. I just take that square end, line it up there, line it up down here. I will do the same with this piece. Put a couple of clips in there just to hold them together while I take them over to my sewing machine. And so I'm going to take these over to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew down here. I'm going to finger press them open that way. I'll sew these next pieces where they're supposed to go in the same manner and fold or press the seam over to one side. I think I'll press the seams towards the kite piece. No reason, just think I will. And yeah, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, so I sewed those first two units together, as you can see right here. And next I'm going to do two more units, and these are hourglasses using the quarter square triangles. And you have to pay close attention to the instructions in the book because these, although they look the same, they use the same colors, the positioning of these triangles is different in each one. So I've double checked it to make sure I have them all lined up properly. So I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and we're supposed to sew them on the short edges. So one thing that Accuquilt does not show you in the booklet is a diagram showing you how to sew them together in terms of, which one should be first. But not a problem. It said the short edges. So basically, I'm going to sew this piece to this piece to this piece, and then these two to here. And I'll do the same with this one. So I'll do that and show you the end result. So I have all my units, all 4 units sewn together, and I've laid them out in the order they're going to appear in or have to be sewn together in for the finished block. So here they are. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to sew it there. I take this piece and I'm going to sew it there. So sew down along these two sides, open them up, press them. Now, it did say to press these pieces open. So I did follow the instructions for that. And it's now saying just to press them to one side like you normally would, or normally that I would do per row per row. So sewing down here, open them up, press the top row to the left, press the bottom row to the right, put them on top of each other, lock in the seams and sew it and press it. And I'll show you what that looks like. And so there we have it, the completed block. Now, this illustrates one of the advantages to using the Accuquilt system. You'll get perfect points every time. I didn't cut off any points. They're all here. It looks great. So that's using the Accuquilt 8-inch companion set for angles. So now we have seen pretty much all of what the Qube sets can do. And down the road, we'll look at some of the more complex dies. Okay, so we've pretty much covered the cubes because all the other ones, depending on their sizes, they all work the same way, and they all have the companion pieces for the angles in the corner. So there we've gone through all of that, and that is like the basic system. So next time, I don't know if I'll have it ready for when we do the next So Chatty, maybe we'll. I thought we'd take a look at the double wedding ring die. That's one that I've had for about 3 years. Have never taken the wrapping off it. And the reason I thought it'd be a good one to look at is it's a really big die, and it cuts curves, because you know the double wedding ring is curves. And a lot of people stay away from trying to do a double wedding ring quilt, mainly because you're sewing curves. Well, Accuquilt has a system for making your life a little easier when it comes to doing that. So they claim. So we're going to test it out and see how that works out with that. So that won't be for another 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it works out to. Okay, so we did have some comments in the past week as well that I just want to mention, a couple here. One about the Alaska quilt. It says, Teresa says, I made the Alaska quilt 2 years ago. It was what I call an easy quilt. Now, what she means, she spelled easy as in EASE-Y, like as into ease something in, like easing in a sleeve into a shirt when you're sewing a shirt. She says, I think I had to ease every single seam. Yes, I took apart a lot of seams too. And yes, I did just toss a few of the blocks on the pile and call them done. Blunt points and all. The result, though, was awesome, and the recipient loves it. So, same problem, cutting off the points, putting them in. Very discouraging. But the end result was she obviously gave it to somebody who is not a quilter. So for them, yeah, don't point it out. They'll think it's wonderful. It's just those of us that are a little bit more precious about our points, like me, that wouldn't be good enough. But okay, you can get something out of it. Yeah, and I know what she means about the easing in the seams, because I figured, yeah, if I went ahead and did this with the number of blocks where the points are weird, I would probably have to do something similar. And Judy writes, you are a wonderful quilter. Thank you, Judy. I love watching your shows and have learned a lot. Continue to finish the quilt. Again, the Alaska quilt. I know it will be beautiful once quilted. You know, that's the old saying, it'll quilt out. I don't think it will in my case. I've been where you are with it and put it away and then came back and finished it. I gave it to a friend and she loves it even with its imperfection. Come back to it after Japan. Yeah. Well, as I said, I am going to, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm picky about my points, you know. And I'm sorry if it sounds snotty, but you can tell the difference between a great quilter and a so-so quilter. If points are cut off, they're a so-so. I was a so-so. When I first got started, I was cutting off points and I just said, well, it's good enough. Who'll know? Well, I know, and it bothers me. So I made it my mission to figure out how not to cut off my points, and I've done very well so far since then until I hit the Alaska quilt. And that's what's pissing me off about it. So we will come back. We'll see. We'll see what will happen. Okay. If you have ideas for future videos, you've got 3 weeks to think about these things. Okay? Put them in the comments below. Send them as email. Also, something I don't think I may have mentioned on the Idiot Quilter last week, and I meant to. I'm out of quilts to show. Your quilts. So if you've got something you've created, it doesn't have to be a quilt. It could be a bag, it could be a garment, it could be a painting. Anything that shows your creative interest with it and you like it. Send me one picture of it, one picture only, please. Don't be greedy and needy, okay, over this. And 50 words or less blurb about it, and I will put it on a future video. So you got 3 weeks to get me stocked up with those as well. Okay. Any last words? Anything in Japan you're looking forward to buying?
Not really.
No.
I'll look around, but I don't need a lot of junk. And we're not much over the last few years to buy, if we go somewhere, to buy a lot of useless stuff.
Yeah. If we see, well, you were talking about you want to look at buttons.
Yeah, I do. I want to look at, go to a fabric store and look at unique buttons.
Yeah.
Because one thing I have a hard time finding decent buttons. I mean, I have buttons, but they're very plain. I want to get some fancy ones.
Ooh, fancy buttons. Well, what? There's a place called Tomato.
Yeah, Tomato looks like, I know why they call it Tomato. It's a fabric store.
Yeah, it's got multiple floors of.
Yeah. And there's an area that is like, they call it Fabric Town or something, and it's got a bunch of big fabric stores there. And it's not just fabrics, they do other things like wools and stuff like that too.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we see something that's very unique and that we like and we can't get here readily, then we'll consider purchasing it. We will take you on our journey through these fabric places and everything that, so you can see what we're seeing it as.
Like I might get some fabric too, but it has to be uniquely something we can't get here.
Yeah. So we'll see what we will see, and you will be, if you tune into the videos when they come up while we're over there, you will see them at the same time almost as well. Okay. So that's us for today. Hope everybody has a good next 3 weeks and tune into the videos we post from Japan. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm just going to interrupt my program for just 1 second to remind you to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for future notifications. That's all I ask of you. Show me a little love. Thanks.